getting one of those wild card spots in the National League. Number 3 on the list is Oakland Athletics starting pitcher Sonny Gray. Gotten off to a terrible start. Last season was dominant, 14-7, 2.73 ERA in 31 starts, third in AL Cy Young voting. His first 3 seasons had a 2.88 ERA. This season has been nothing like that. In 9 starts, he's 3-5 with a 6.19 ERA. Ouch. 1.65 WHIP. Ouch. And, you think those numbers are bad. Look at his last 4 starts. He's thrown 19 and 2/3 innings, given up 31 hits, 9 walks, and 21 earned runs. That's absolutely horrid. He is now on the DL due to a shoulder injury. Not eligible to return until June 6th. May be ready then. You can only hope that time off can help Sonny Gray return to the pitcher that the Athletics have gotten used to each of his first 3 seasons. Number 2, 2 guys left, and number 2 is the Dark Knight of the New York Mets starting pitcher Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey, has looked dominant throughout his early career. Did miss all of 2014 due to Tommy John surgery, but 2015 had a strong showing. 13-8 record, 2.71 ERA in 29 starts. 2013, he finished 4th in National League Cy Young voting. So, Matt Harvey's looked like one of the dominant young starters in baseball. This season has shown nothing of the sort. 10 starts, 3-7 record, 6.08 ERA, 1.69 WHIP. He's given up 12.3 hits per 9 innings, just getting shelled, especially in his last 3 starts. 13 1/3 innings, 27 hits allowed, so he's given up more than 2 hits per inning in his last 3 starts, and given up more than a run an inning. 16 earned runs in those 13 1/3 innings in his last 3 starts. Mets past couple starts have been debating whether they should keep him in the rotation, send him to the bullpen, or even, would definitely hurt his ego big time, send him to the minor leagues, to get his mechanics back in form. So far, they have resisted the urge to do any of those. He will get another start tomorrow, but you have to think that he may fall out of favor in the rotation if he struggles again tomorrow. Matt Harvey, number 2 on my list. Only guy that I have topping Matt Harvey is last season's American League Cy Young winner. That is Dallas Keuchel of the Houston Astros. What a 2015 he had. 20-8 record, 2.48 ERA, an AL best 1.02 WHIP, and he took those great numbers and it earned him the American League Cy Young. Astros, many people's pick for potentially making the World Series out of the American League. While I have Dallas Keuchel number 1 on most disappointing players, probably the most disappointing team in baseball has been the Houston Astros, well under 500 much of the season, and Keuchel hasn't helped matters. In 11 starts, he's 3-6 with a 5.58 ERA. His 76 hits allowed are the most in the AL. His 43 earned runs are also most in the AL, and he has a 1.47 WHIP. Did throw better yesterday in a win against the Angels in 7 innings, gave up just 2 earned runs, so, Astros got to hope for more of that during the rest of the season, and not what he did in his previous 5 May starts when he had a 7.58 ERA and gave up 40 hits and 13 walks in just 29 2/3 innings. So Dallas Keuchel, will almost in all likelihood not repeat as American League Cy Young winner, but the Astros need to hope that he could at least return to that Cy Young form for the remainder of the season for them to have any chance at making the postseason this year. As I mentioned, definitely the most disappointing team in baseball with their record of, looking it up right now, 21-29, so 8 games under 500, 8 games behind the Mariners in the AL West. Other teams who you could consider disappointing, Toronto at 26-25, but they've been playing more winning baseball recently, 7-3 in their last 10, and just 4 games out of first place. Those have probably consider those two the two most disappointing teams. Some might say the Diamondbacks, after signing Zach Greinke, after trading pretty much the house to get Shelby Miller, Shelby Miller's another guy who I should have at least included in my honorable mentions. Had a ton of losses with the Braves last year, but that wasn't due to bad pitching. That was just being on a bad team. 6-17 last year with a 3.02 ERA. This season, 1-6, 7.09 ERA in 10 starts. 1.86 WHIP. Ouch. 29 walks to 30 strikeouts. Just god-awful season for Shelby Miller, so definitely someone I should have included at least in my honorable mention. So there you go, there's a 4th honorable mention. Maybe not a top 10 guy just because maybe doesn't receive as much notoriety as the top 10 guys I mentioned. But as you could see from my list, there's a lot of high-profile players who have just not gotten off to, the starts that us as fans expect them to get off to. These are the guys that if you drafted them in your fantasy baseball team, you're just mightily disappointed. You can't really drop them. I know for myself, I have Justin Upton on my fantasy team. I've can't drop him, but I've been leaving him on the bench quite frequently. Just can't take his 0 for 4 games, which have been happening quite frequently. As I mentioned, these guys are just been quite disappointing for your fantasy teams, and you just got to hope they bounce back, because as I mentioned, you can't drop them. I also have Sonny Gray on my fantasy team, so, secretly I was almost a little happy that I could stash him on a DL spot once he got injured, because, he's just been ruining my ERA week after week. Especially myself, I'm back-to-back winner in fantasy baseball, so can't let players like that ruin my chances at winning once again. Currently in 5th place, barely over 500, but season's still young. Hopefully, some of my guys could bounce back. Thank you, Chris Sale, for helping me out early on, even though your last start was quite disappointing. But pitched well today, 2 runs in 7 innings, no decision though. But enough of that. That will just about round up episode number 70. Thank you all for listening. Thank you so much. Round of applause for each and every one of you. I'll be back on the air most likely next Sunday. We'll be able to talk NBA Finals. Will it be Oklahoma City or Golden State versus Cleveland? Probably be more baseball news going on as well. Maybe even get into a little NBA free agency. With the season rounding up, you got to see what free agents are out there. There are some big names, as I mentioned, Kevin Durant. Not quite the biggest of free agency classes, though, I must say. After Durant, there's Dwight Howard, Al Horford, Mike Conley, Hassan Whiteside, just to name a few players, Harrison Barnes. So, maybe I'll get into that. Maybe top 10 free agent list. It's always subject to change, though, because there's always so much going on in sports. We'll see what happens come next Sunday. Thank you for all listening. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend. Stay cool if you're on the East Coast, and, I'm sure it's hot in other places as well. Enjoy Memorial Day tomorrow. Stay safe. Have a great Memorial Day. Until next Sunday, goodbye, y'all.